Get stacked.
Triple threat.
Expected value. Now take what you learn, go out there, and get stacked.
What up, Gripsters and random YouTubers? Evan here for Grips.com. Continuing with part 3 of our exciting, entertaining, and exceedingly enthralling walkthrough of the Sunday Million victory by Team Grips member Charlie Epiphany77 Carrel. Okay, you got me. It wasn't a victory. It was second place. But the chop was for about 200K. And to the guy who posted in the comments asking about how much first place got, the winner of this tournament got less money than Charlie did. So let's just call it a victory, shall we? If you haven't yet watched parts 1 and 2, I would really encourage you to do so. Talked about a lot of great stuff. Got my eyes open to a few cool new plays, so I'm sure there will be at least one eye-opener for you. Maybe 2, 3, 4, 7, 21. Who knows? Goodness to be had by watching them. If you don't want to, I'm not going to make you, but I'm going to remind you one last time. If you're just starting this series now, please do yourself a favor. Go watch parts 1 and 2. So blinds are 3K, 6K. It's pretty fucking big. Wild thing about the Sunday Million is they are going to continue to get bigger. The final blind level in this tournament is absolutely insane. So since everything's a little more bigger, I don't know, everything seems a little more important. I'm going to go take things a little bit slower. Not much slower, but a little bit slower. So we raise ace queen under the gun. Nothing to see here. And getting whacked on for 15 bigs, getting 1.5 to 1. We're always calling with this hand. People's all-in range for 15 blinds is going to include hands like ace-jack, maybe ace-10 suited, bunch of pairs that we're flipping with, king-queen that we're dominating, the occasional ace-king that has us in bad shape, but overall, many more hands that we're doing fine against than hands that have us in bad shape. It is a flip, and that, boys and girls, is a fantastic start to this part of the video. I remember when I was playing this tournament and I was keeping Charlie's table up and wanted to keep watching him, and I was just like, man, every time he gets all in, he just wins. So that is a little bit of foreshadowing of what you can expect to see this video. It's really nice to see someone you know and want to see do well run really pure. It's just awesome. Alright, so we got 2 9s, and we're probably not ever really folding this hand when we got 2 10 big blind stacks behind us and a 20 big blind stack opening from the hijack. So options are we could flat call to give the stacks behind us a chance to move all in and snap them off. The issue with this play is their stacks are so shallow that they probably don't think they have a lot of fold equity, and therefore the hands that they'll reshove with are probably the same hands that they would just call off with. So the other options are to 3-bet small to give Golden Hawks a chance to 4-bet all in, and the last option is to just shove. A spot like this where we have a pretty strong hand, I think the best play is to do whatever is going to look the weakest. And Charlie goes for a small 3-bet and actually gets flatted. That's pretty surprising. But I guess people don't really know what's going on. Given that we were going to go with the hand pre-flop on a board like this with a pot-sized bet behind, I think we're still going to go with it post-flop. Yeah, it's going to suck the rare times that Golden Hawks flop to flush, but there's going to be a ton of hands that he'll move it in with that just have 1 spade. And if he somehow caught a 10, unlucky for us. I think he's more likely to have broadways than small cards. So he's more likely to just have like some sort of overcard hand than to have paired up. So if the 9s were good pre-flop, they're probably still good now. And we were willing to go with them before, so why not now? Charlie fires a c-bet, Golden Hawks folds, and what he had, I don't know. But it's definitely worth thinking about the idea of just shoving pre-flop to maybe make our hand look like 2s and force more money out of our opponent there. I think that's actually quite an interesting spot with the 9s. We know we're never folding the hand pre-flop, but given that, how do we want to proceed? What do we think the best way to get money in the middle is? These are the things to be thinking about. So we're not going to open with total junk. A couple short stacks behind means we would be priced into calling their reshoves. And we don't want to be calling reshoves with hands like 7-5 off. Okay, here. Golden Hawks. What the hell? No chips, guy. We're getting great pot odds. I figure let's take a flop. And with nothing but a gutter, seems like a good time to fold. And Golden Hawks clearly just like super fish. And you'll get a lot of those guys in the Sunday Million, which is sweet. So ace king facing a button open of 30 big blind stack. Think probably just gonna 3-bet and call off. Again, same thing going on with Pietro as there was before. He's not that likely to move it in with more hands if we flat than he would if we 3-bet. In this case, probably a bit more likelihood than in the other case, but not enough to really swing it to a flat, I don't think. Our intention is to 3-bet Yoni and call off, because pretty much the same as the ace-queen hand. He's going to be putting in with a lot of hands we're flipping with, a lot of hands we're dominating, and a very select couple of hands that have us in bad shape. So Charlie 3-bets to, what is that, 40K? Yeah, it's 40K, 2x. And I'm interested in people's thoughts between, you know, the merits of a 2x, 2.5x, 3x in spots like this. I've always been very curious about that. So Pietro cold 4-bets all in with the ace-queen suited. Kind of what I was getting at before. And oh my god, we lost a flip. See, I was lying to you guys. He didn't win every all-in. I was just setting up the trolls are going to be like, dude ran so good. Like, it's the only reason he won. No, we lost some all-ins too. When we are folded 2 on the button and we have an ace and a bunch of chips, yeah, we're raising. And Pietro coming in with a 3-bet. Interested to see, yeah, nice, Charlie folds. I'm curious if anyone defends in spots like this. We do get like pretty good odds. 3.6 to 1, only requiring 22% equity or so to continue. And Broadway type hands, I feel like, have decent equity against hands that 3-bet, or people that 3-bet with a wide range. But does the fact that we're out of position and reverse implied odds outweigh the fact that we're getting such a good price? Something I'm curious about. I don't have too much opinion about, but I would love to hear your guys' thoughts on spots like that, how you approach them, and why. Oh, saver guard. Trying to rep something. Well, Charlie ain't folding. I like the flat. Although the board can get pretty dangerous if we were to click back the flop and try to get it in. I don't think we're getting it in as a big favorite very often. In fact, I think we're usually getting in pretty far behind if saver guard's actually willing to go with it. So by opting to just call his flop raise, we're keeping his semi-bluffs in there. We're keeping his range to include hands that we have in semi-bad shape. And in the times that he has us dead, we lose less. So we can win more when he's semi-bluffing, lose less when he has us beat. And if the board runs out such that, you know, we can't get more action, and we happen to have him coolered with queen 10, king 10, even still, 3-betting the flop and showing that kind of strength may not have gotten the whole stack. He may have wised up to what was going on and slowed down. So I don't think we give up too much value when the board runs off bad. Perhaps we risk getting bluffed But unless he's check raise bluffing with like total air, odds are when the board gets scary and we get bet off our hand, he's improved to a hand that actually has us beat. Now he gives up. I think Charlie can definitely go for a value bet there. And he goes for a small one on the river. Fifth of the pot. Let's see, did he write any notes about this hand? No. And save regard did have the straight, so it's good of Charlie to not get that all in. And I'm curious if save regard was going for that double check raise on the turn, or if he was just really that concerned that we filled up. I think it's in his best interest to continue betting on the turn, and on this river obviously you can't really do much, but when the board doesn't roll off 10-10, he probably is getting a lot more value by going bet-bet, and I think he gave up some by checking the turn. Let me know what you guys think. See, as promised, lots of interesting spots in this video. Oh, and Charlie does have some notes. He pot controlled the turn, as he thinks the villain often does have a straight. And the reason he bet so small on the river is he wanted to get called by a queen or that straight. So he was wise to the fact he may be getting double check raised and didn't want to deal with that shit. Okay. I like Charlie's check back here. This is a board that hits the preflop caller's range a decent amount, and we'll see us getting played back at a good chunk of the time. Also, not too many worse hands are calling when we have 2 10s here. And it's fine to just try to take this hand to showdown. Once we get that turn, obviously cool to try to build that pot, get that value, and take it down. Getting close to that million. Ain't a million though. Ain't a million chips though. Blinds getting up there. Charlie has heaps of chips. He's 70 blinds where everyone has like 10. And he welcomes the new player to the table with a 3-bet, saying, "Nah, bro, it's my table. You're not going to be stealing all these blinds. You can steal some, but you're going to have to watch out for me." And I like that he set up that dynamic right away. I think that will pay off, later stages of the tournament, or for as long as this table stays together. It's going to be great that Ice Stream is a little concerned about, getting played back at. And here we go again. So again, one of those pretty, quote-unquote textured boards that connects a lot with hands the opponent might have. So I like that Charlie just check back, guaranteeing he wouldn't get check raised. At this point, hand looks a good amount like Ace King. So it's a good plan to keep betting. Start betting. If Ice Stream doesn't think we're 3-betting that wide, then our range is going to continue a whole bunch of big broadways and big pairs. Big pairs are probably betting the flop, so on the turn we still have like Ace King, Ace Queen, and King Queen, 2/3 of which have connected with that and are going to get a fold from opponent pretty often. So not only did we win another pot, but we further built on that dynamic where Ice Stream just kind of has to be like, "God damn, why do I have to have this guy on my left? Well, I guess there's not too much I'll do. I can do about it. I'm just going to wait it out." This guy open shoves 20 bigs. I think he has 8s, 2 jacks, 5s. And the guy called with 3s? Oh, man. Great value, Sunday Million. He has 20 bigs under the gun with 5s. That's ridiculous. Okay. Interesting that Charlie did not take that spot Takes 8-5 suited, but not ace-3 suited. Charlie, gotta let me know. Why weren't you feeling that one? This is what you would call an unsuccessful steal attempt. No big deal. Risk 30K to win 34-5. Doesn't need to work every time. And you know what they say about good steal attempts? Half the time, they work every time. Let's see if this one here, King Queen, is a good steal attempt. It is. Theory proven. Alright. Ooh, we got a fun one. Charlie defending with some junk. So, pre-flop, what's he doing? He's got 9-7 offsuit. Why is he calling? Well, he's getting 3-1 on his money. He only needs 25% equity, and unless our opponent's range consists of strictly over pairs, then we're getting 25%. In fact, we're getting about 33% with just about any hand against a standard range. That's not all big pairs. On top of that, we have position. And probably the biggest factor, the biggest reason that Charlie's playing this hand is that at 50 big blinds deep, or 45, 46, 46.5 big blinds deep, there's a lot of play. There's a lot of room to maneuver your opponent and use the board to move them off their hand. This is where the skill of, hand reading board textures, knowing what cards change dynamics of things, and give you opportunities to take down pots, can really benefit you, because at 50 big blinds deep, you're not that often going to have to go to a showdown if you don't want to. And, yeah. So your hand isn't that important. Okay. So, villain checks the flop. What do you guys think his range is? I think he's got some ace highs, maybe some jacks, some medium pairs. I think he's probably betting with his 6s and 3s. So he's got a not super strong but not super weak range either, probably most of the time. Now Charlie turns a double gut shot, and again, the opponent's range is not super strong. So this may be a nice spot to go for a semi-bluff raise. This takes advantage of the fact that the opponent's range isn't super strong, and we're probably not getting 3-bet on the turn very often. If we hit, we can size it such that we'll get paid, and if we miss, we can size it such that he's going to fold. But Charlie opts to just call, take his pot odds, and rep a hand that's trying to get to showdown. Pretty good river. I guess that's a bit of an understatement. And villain fires a third pot, and Charlie goes for value, 220. It gets looked up by the 6 deuce. I guess Ice Stream thought that we aren't representing much when we have not shown any aggression earlier in the hand and are now raising on the river. He's thinking if we had like a strong top pair or a set or 2 pair, we probably would have been either betting the flop, raising the turn, showing some interest in the pot earlier. And in spots where you're not really representing many real hands, that's where you're going to get hero called very lightly. Also, there was that nice dynamic that was created, and there's the benefit of attacking your opponent right away, getting in his head, and getting him to be more inclined to just, quote-unquote, go to war with you. For what it's worth, notes say villain snap called, so he was not looking to have any of it. Question is, would he have been able to call down if we had raised the turn and then bombed the river regardless of whether we improved or not? Because, yeah, as I said, on the flop, villain's range is medium strength, not super strong. I didn't know that I thought he'd bet a hand like 6 deuce, but everyone's going to play their ranges and sections of their ranges a little bit differently. Either way, nice river, nice value raise, nice hand, nice stack. Yeah, we're just going to get down to business. Raise, 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 bet, 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 steal. Damn chips. There's a lot up for grabs every hand at this stage of the tournament. 46K in the middle. And you only need to get like 30 or 40 million chips to win the tournament. So 46K helps. All right, blind's starting to get real big now. 12.5, 25K. I always like this level because the big blind's like this orange and yellow chip. And I don't see the orange and yellow chip that often. See enough of the baby blue chips. But the orange and yellow one, like, that's a big deal chip. So pretty excited when that comes into play. I know on the replayer it's green, but on the real tables or the real virtual felts, real, unreal, fake, it's real. Yeah, those orange chips look pretty badass. You know that it's time to get down to business once the orange chips come into play. Especially once you start playing orange chip to orange chip, 25, 50K blind. Okay, so now we 3-bet with a real hand, and against this guy who Charlie's already 3-bet a couple of times. The plan is not to fold this hand. We can expect Ice Dream to possibly just say, fuck this clown, I'm not having this, and go for a 4-bet with a whole bunch of hands. And you just let him know, well, sorry bro, I got it this time. Pop it back in. Even if he folds, he's not going to know that we necessarily had it. He may guess that we had it, but there's quite likely that he'll think we just have a really good read on him. We're just like soul reading him. Because if he doesn't see your cards, he gets no confirmation as to whether or not you had it, and you're putting that seed of doubt in there, and it's a really good thing to be doing. Let's steal some blinds. This is one of those stages of the tournament now where Charlie really can open up his range. In parts, I think it was part 2, maybe it was part 1, I discussed the fact that even though we had amassed a big stack, the blinds were like, they were reasonable. Our opponents' stacks were such that they still had a lot of room to play. They had a lot of room to flat, they had room to 3-bet. They could mix it up without having to get dealt like really good cards. So at that point, there wasn't a lot of benefit to, quote unquote, like using our big stack to get shit done. At this stage, however, if you look at the table, stacks are much shallower. We got 15 bigs on our left, 12 bigs there, 17 bigs here, one guy with 35 bigs, really good player by the way. Another guy with 11, 22, and like 30. So on average, the stacks are pretty shallow, which means these guys will probably have to deal with narrower ranges, which means our steals are going to be going through more often. And if our steals are going to be going through more often, we should be stealing more often. Who do you guys think won that flip? It's a pretty dumb question. It's pretty obvious. So this is a great spot to just go for all the streets, all the value. Sizing looks good. It's a board where you don't need to bet. You're going to be betting with a lot of your opening range, so you don't need to be betting too big. I think that's fine. And once you turn the flush draw, yeah, just keep betting. Mash it, as Jay Merckx would say. Mash. Oh, here we go with our dynamic again. This guy must have been so pissed. Open 3-bet, open 3-bet, 3-bet, 4-bet. Lose massive pot with hero call. This one got caught. In this spot, yeah, hand looks pretty strong. Looks very strong and Malloyd is going to be opening here a decent amount. It's a good steal spot, which means Ice Stream, if he's a capable player, is going to be 3-bet bluffing a reasonable amount. And you have like one of the ultimate blocker hands, the double blocker, King Queen. It's a good cold 4-bet spot. And we're risking 300 to win 300. How wide Malloyd is opening and how wide Ice Stream is 3-betting is really going to determine how often this is successful. Because I'm looking at it now, I think it's a great spot at first glance, for sure. But, you know, it does have to work half the time. So that means kind of like both players have to be folding out 75% of their range. Malloyd's obviously going to fold more, you know. So if Malloyd's going to fold, let's see, I don't know if I can do the quick math on the spot. But for the sake of argument, if Ice Stream is folding, he needs to be folding 50. Let's see if he's folding 60% of his range, then Malloyd has to be folding 90% of his range to get that total of 50%. So it's interesting because if their ranges aren't too wide, you might not actually be hitting your 50%. If, however, you know, you get an Ice Stream to fold like 70% of his range, Malloyd only needs to fold some very minuscule amount for this to be a profitable play. And according to the notes, Ice Stream has been 3-betting heaps, including early position open. So yeah, given dynamics, for sure. Great 3-bet, great cold 4-bet. Unfortunately, didn't work out this time. But it's also decent for the image, because Ice Stream already thought we were fucking around. And now, wow, we won a big one. Okay, for fun, same guy. Now he's definitely going to think we're fucking around. So if later in the tournament we can get a good hand against Ice Stream, our implied odds, our expectation of getting paid off with that hand is much bigger than it would have been if we never got caught making a play against him. So now we'll get to some stealing. Blinds are massive. Whew, that's a lot of action. Dem be some good hands. Dem be some real good hands. And that be the best hand, man. That be the best hand. I got pocket aces. Hell yeah, man. That's a good hand. Oh, man. Come on, man. No action, man. Ain't that a bitch? Nah. Sitting on 1.2 million, you can never be too upset. Go back to stealing. We'll play the Queen Jack, but not the King 10. And here, Charlie takes his 4-1 pre-flop and flops once again pretty damn good. This is a spot where I think if we were shallower stacked, or in a tournament where having a huge chip lead is worth a lot, then fast playing a hand that you know has decent equity even against the strongest parts of your opponent's range is fine. In this tournament, however, having 1.2 million chips, even though it's 30 bigs only, is a lot of chips, and the value in your chip stack is quite high. So I think playing a more pot control approach, just trying to bluff catch / go for value if we improve to that super nutted hand by hitting a 7 or a spade, is probably the ideal line, or the ideal approach to take to this hand. Cool. Now we do make that nut hand, and the opponent is still betting quite big. This is interesting. This is really interesting. If we raise, what's there going to be, about $1 million in the middle? 1.1, 800K. So we'll be looking at 800K to win 2 million. It's quite a lot, but if we check shove this turn, we look quite strong. We look like we have the hand that we do have. The question is, how light can he call us? If he has a 4, is he going to call us? Probably. If he has a flush, will he call us? Yeah. If he just has an ace, though, or an ace with a spade, will he call us? I don't know. The other thing is, if he has a flush or a 4, he's going to bet those hands on the river anyway most of the time. So you're still going to be able to get all the chips. And if he has some bluffs, may continue. Probably not. It's quite interesting spot. So river pairs the ace. Now if he has an ace, he's made trips, and all else is the same. Charlie jammed because he's getting stacked by boats anyway, and he thinks an ace that may check behind may call a bet. Also believes that straights and flushes will call a bet as well. I guess it's a river where he's not that likely to continue bluffing, and he may call with more hands than he would value bet himself. So it's an interesting play. I wonder if there's any merit to betting really small and trying to get a tilt call, or giving him the opportunity to spaz out, like betting like 250, 300K. Our man had a straight and was not folding. It's interesting. There's like a really tiny chance he may check back that straight when the flush comes on the turn and full houses become possible on the river. Not super likely, but possible. So nice evaluation of the situation there by Charlie. I do agree that that turn sizing just looks like super strong, and the fact he's still betting when the board got like that is a sign of him having a really big hand. Whether or not he'll call off. With this hand, probably. With other hands, I'm not sure. This is a really interesting hand. Man, this whole video has been full of like super interesting spots. So whatever you guys think about various hands, let's get the ball rolling. If you guys want to make the commenting process more efficient, I would encourage you to put the hand at the start of your comment, and then we can just have running threads on each hand. So, you know, like put ace 7 spades and just post, and then everyone who wants to talk about the ace 7 of spades hand can reply to those comments, and you'll see the ongoing discussion. So I know in general the new YouTube layout kind of sucks, or so it seems, but this is one of the beneficial things that it does have. So let's take advantage of it, right? Because the whole point of using the internet and shit is taking advantage of all the resources it has to have so that we can improve at the quickest rate and connect as much as possible and do all that other awesome shit. Anyway, that's going to wrap up part 3. We're sitting on a massive stack, and I think I'm going to slow things down in the following parts, because this is the stage of the tournament where things get really interesting, and we're about to be at that orange chip to orange chip level that I mentioned earlier in the video. So shit's getting serious. We got to slow shit down and really take it all in. Really feel things out and try to incorporate as many factors as possible into our decisions. And the only way we can do that is by paying attention. If you're playing while watching this video, you are not paying full attention, but I'm not going to give you a hard time about it because I used to do that quite a lot myself as well. Totally understandable. Anyway, thank you for tuning in. This has been Evan Jarvis for Grips.com. Always a pleasure. Feel free to get involved in the comments discussion and just keep on doing what you're doing. Part 4 will be coming soon. While you're waiting for that, you know what to do. Take what you learned, go out there, and get stacking.
Yeah, we get it stacking. Grips.com taught you how to get it stacking. The flops I be smashing, the pots I be blasting. Grips.com taught you how to get it stacking. When the main event, man, that could never happen. The Grips.com taught you how to get it stacking. Now you're picking up traction, getting action. Grips.com taught you how to get it stacking. Stack it up.
Cash it in, damn, I win again. Many friends come to play, cause I'm on the internet. Better yet, I flop the turn and take a chance upon the river. I'll bluff you with the 7-2 offsuit. Whatever's clever, call you all in while your chip stacks fall in. Better believe the dealer, cause the game just started. Don't know the rules, you bet it all and then you risk it. If you wanna learn it, you should go online and hit up Gripsit.
Yeah, we get it stacking. Grips.com's how you had to get it stacking. The flops I be smashing, the pots I be blasting. Grips.com's how you had to get it stacking. When the main event, man, that could never happen. The Grips.com's how you had to get it stacking. Now you're picking up traction, getting action. Grips.com's how you had to get it stacking. Ever since a young cat, wanna pocket stack with cash in the fast stack, crammed in the clam clip. Gotta get the action, gotta get it stacking. Dollars on the noggin, want a lot of transactions. Started as a little retarded, now with the knowledge, playing cards, flopping. Bombarded cause it was harder than I thought. Then I got on Grips.com, asking and got what I needed to beat him and get it stacking. Yeah, we get it stacking. Grips.com's how you had to get it stacking. The flops I be smashing, the pots I be blasting. Grips.com's how you had to get it stacking. When the main event, man, that could never happen. The Grips.com's how you had to get it stacking. Now you're picking up traction, getting action. Grips.com's how you had to get it stacking. Yeah, we get it stacking. Grips.com's how you had to get it stacking. The flops I be smashing, the pots I be blasting. Grips.com's how you had to get it stacking. When the main event, man, that could never happen. The Grips.com's how you had to get stacking. Now you're picking up traction, getting action. Grips.com's how you had to get it stacking. Yeah, we get it stacking. Grips.com's how you had to get it stacking. The flops I be smashing, the pots I be blasting. Grips.com's how you had to get it stacking. When the